I promise this will be the last video just about this front panel. I'm sure your patience is being tried as much as mine with it. This is going on a long time. Anyway, from staring at it I realised there was something missing, and there was a trace of sealant up along here before I made up these lower corners, and I've been trying to figure out what's the remainder of this surround for the headlight might have been, and I've eventually put one and one together, and I think I might have got two this time. They were probably joined. They obviously didn't put any spot welds through to the front of this, because this is about the only piece of this panel that actually shows up on the outside with all the trim that's attached to it. So they just used sealant on it between this surface here and probably a fold on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make up a little piece that follows that original track and joins up here, because it would give a little bit of strength to the surround for the headlight, and these lights on the Talbot Express suffer from losing their lenses quite often from vibration, so we'll give it every little bit of help that we can.
I could have just cut this off and welded in a little piece to square it off, but for some reason that seems more irritating to me than actually putting in a big piece and joining the two bits together. Perhaps that just feels more worthwhile. Cleaned off the edges there for welding. Made up a little paper template, judging what I'd need. Marked it off onto a scrap of the front right wing that I had trimmed up to fit in from a repair panel. Tack that in. Short little bursts because the metal is so thin. And did the same thing on the other side.
Down to the last hole now in this panel, and there's a wee screw here for the front grille, and I need to remove that and the plastic block it goes into, because otherwise that's going to melt when I do some welding on this here. So just unscrew that. Luckily, in a sense, the hole actually gives me the chance to get it out, and I hope I'll be able to push it back in again later. Just because this is small doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It's in quite a tight little space, and it's also on something really quite visible anytime you lift the bonnet, and you know, a lot of the work I'm doing on this project is going to be within the engine bay, so I have a feeling I'm going to want to lift the bonnet fairly often to show the work, because on the outside there's only about this bit here and that over there that you can see. There's a little nick gone out of it here, so I reckon I could actually just do my cut with the grinder here, and I'll probably go through that a little bit. I can build it back up again. So I'll do a straight line here, and I'll just go a little bit there, and that'll allow me to get that piece out. There's a spot weld on it, well there, so I'll drill that, I'll get that bit off.
I had to be really careful here with the cutting disc not to go through into the second piece of metal, just removing the rusty top piece. I had to fold the other end out so that I could just cut across, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to get in without damaging the end piece. Drilled out the spot weld. then just twisted off the remains of the piece. I'd have to go for the chisel just to get the last bit off. Again, wire wheel on the grinder to clean it off. Still a bit of seam sealant in there. And then made a little paper template. Kind of traced this by pressing down the edge and marked it out. Transferred that to another scrap from that wing repair panel. Cut that out and fitted it in. As you can see, I like to recycle my gloves until there's nothing left. And tack that in. Did a plug weld where the spot weld would have been. Then cleaned it up with a flat wheel. Get it nice and flat again. Then put the wire wheel back on and went cleaning up all the little bits of weld, all the bits of smoke, loose paint, all the way around the panel. Then I roughed it up with a sanding block just to key in the new primer, because it's been a long time since that primer was applied. Blew off all the dust and then used a degreaser to clean it up. Back to my paint. This is the epoxy mixed up. That it's a 50-50 mix with its hardener. Stirred it up and then poured it into the gun. I reduced down the spray pattern to a dot. Just decreased the amount of paint there because it was very intense. And then began spraying inside the box section. This doesn't need to be too tidy. It's more a treatment than a paint finish. Get as much of it as I could inside. From doing the cross sections as I was doing the welding, I could see I actually done pretty well when I did this before at getting the paint around inside there. When it comes to refinishing the panel, I'll use cavity wax inside there, and it'll get another layer of primer after some sanding to get an even coat, and then hopefully a lovely top coat. It's come a long way since before I immersed it in the evapor rust.